is so cool. Like he's so goofy and like lovely. We had this like moment. He was showing Patrick how I was gonna hold my like daughter, like I get her from him, like no, I pick her up and then I was holding her there and he's like, right, so you're just gonna he threw his leg like around my body and I just like grabbed it and then I dipped him and he was like, yeah, and then you do dirty dancing. And like we just had a moment. I was like instantly loved him. Hi.
Hi, Ingrid. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm still in my Halloween stuff in the background, so I'm uh
I love it.
I'm in need of a makeover in my
Oh
background.
my gosh. I'm in my friend's like room and it's like a jungle
I know. I
botanical
was gonna say,
area.
are you like in a tropical jungle,
Basically, she would love that.
or are you growing like a vast amount of things there?
I don't know. I think it's yeah, just a jungle
It
basically.
works. It works. Whatever she's
Yeah,
trying to accomplish, it's growing something, right? So,
exactly.
where are you at though?
I'm in Los Angeles at the
Oh,
moment
cool.
at my friend's place. Yeah,
There
because
you
I'm
go.
the premiere is tomorrow, so I'm gonna go to that, and that's at the El Capitan. So yeah,
That's the spots. That is
yeah,
the Disney movie slash Marvel premiere spot. Is that your first time
yeah,
at that theater for a premiere?
yeah. I've never been there before. I've just like heard about it and seen it, and obviously walked past it, but I've never gone to premiere there. So
It's gonna
that's
be
really
wild.
exciting.
You
Yeah,
you know the streets are gonna be closed off, and there's gonna be tons of fans and everything.
I know. I know. I had friends who were like, "Can we just like rock up and like stand and like fangirl you?" And I'm like, "I don't think it works that way. Like, not anymore. I don't
Too much
know."
security and like
Yeah,
people in the way for sure.
yeah,
To make sure everything's in
exactly.
order. Well, that's gonna be exciting. Wow, I'm
Yeah.
excited for you to
Thank
experience.
you. Yeah, I'm super excited. We'll see
How
what
long
it'll be like.
how long has it been since you filmed and finished your portion?
I filmed in March. Yeah, I filmed in
Okay.
March, so not that long. I we
No,
were
that's
doing yeah, quick turnaround.
yeah.
Because it was they added scenes to the story. So they filmed last year in Ireland and then they added a bunch of more scenes this year. So I'm in one of those, which is really cool. But great for me because it's like a fast turnaround and I get to see it so soon,
Well,
you know.
yeah, the add-on helped you. Where did you film your scene?
In a oh, I don't remember the name of the town, but it's like up by a castle north in London.
Oh, okay, so you were in
Yeah,
Europe for that.
yes, and they were like they Disneyfied this like that's like there's no better word for it. There was this like
Disney, that's a great word for it.
yeah, like honestly, you know, March in London can be quite like volatile in terms of
Uh-huh.
weather, but like the skies just like were clear, sunshine, like it was so great. And the whole like little village that they have like Disneyfied, it was
Yeah.
just so beautiful. And so yeah, it was just really, really cool. And we were all like, man, like Disney like controls the weather.
They do. Like
I
you didn't
know,
get the memo apparently, but yes, they do.
I
What
know,
is it
they
like
do.
to walk onto that set? Does it feel kind of like surreal? Like when it's Disney fight, as you call it? Like I just could imagine what it's like to walking on a Disney set like that, where it's like literally magical.
Yeah, honestly, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's like stepping into like an animated story like but that has come become real," which is obviously like the premise of the first film, right? But like everything there's like Easter eggs, which I'm sure you know that like I was like looking around and I could see I was like, "Oh, that's from like that, that's from that." And just even like the supporting artists in the background like you know, one guy looked like he was in the Beauty and the Beast. He was playing a blacksmith, and I was like, ah, where do they find these people? And it was just really, really like humbling to like step onto set and be like, this is completely taken out of like one of the cartoons, and
Wow.
it's just so beautiful. They had like wisteria hanging off like these little like houses. It was just honestly it was magical and I was so grateful to be there. It was like so moving for me, especially as like a Disney fan and growing up on the movies when I was a kid. Like
Yeah, that's amazing.
that was surreal.
I mean,
Yeah.
one thing you mentioned, how did they find these people? They found you, and you have a lot of similarities with the main actress in this Amy Adams. Certainly the hair color matches up too, so that's a
Oh my
good
gosh.
find there.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think part of my character was to remind Patrick about, like, your family, and kind of seeing himself in the guy playing my husband. They kind of have similar like vibes and style, and then I have a similar vibe to Amy maybe. So like, but there was like much discussion around my hair. I wear a
I
wig
believe
in the movie. Yeah, they were like, you cannot have a side part because that'll be too close to Amy. You have to have like I was like, whoa, it is like, this is so serious. But
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, too many redheads, like they might think we're related at some point. So,
Maybe. And you're a
but
natural, right? I mean, I'm assuming you're a natural redhead.
I like to say naturally enhanced.
Oh, okay. Well,
um, no, I'm the colored. I'm dark blonde in real life.
interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
You
but I
pull
love
it
the
off
red.
so well.
Thank you. I was born in the wrong hair color, I think, anyway. So, yeah.
I can see this look on you being like a main look, for sure.
Yeah. I don't remember I can't even imagine myself with like dark blonde hair anymore. I've had red as long as I can remember.
Does it help as
So,
an actor too? Because it makes you stand out for sure. I don't know. Sometimes maybe for worse because you're unlike anything else, but sometimes for the better because it makes you unique. How do you feel as an
yeah.
actor, kind of auditioning and everything with that sort of look, which is not the most fun?
Yeah. No, I think like it can maybe limit you sometimes, but I feel like because this, like, I will say, like, I feel like this suits me. This is my personality, and like it's my looks. I feel like because it's like in synchronicity with who I am, I feel like that helps a lot with casting and stuff. And I feel like people just like get me more as this. Like, I don't know what they would do with me if I were blonde, you know? They'd be like, who is she? We don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe one
Too
day
common
somebody,
then, too.
yeah. I once auditioned for this thing where I was like, we want like a Tilda Swinton looking
Uh-huh.
person, and they wanted to like bleach my hair and like shave one side, and I was like, I'm game for it, but the aftercare is on you. Like, yeah, I don't think they knew what they were getting into.
Exactly. That's
So they stuck with the red.
there you go. That's
Yeah,
keep it natural.
yeah,
Anything you can share
exactly.
about your character in Disenchanted, or it's a mystery character sort of thing?
It's not a mystery character. So as far as I know from, like, obviously I didn't read the whole script, but I've like, now I know what it's all about.
Uh-huh.
I Patrick saves my daughter from like this building about to fall on her, and
Sounds
there's
realistic, by the way. Patrick Dempsey
right.
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, who wouldn't want that? No, there's like, he's on this whole thing of like becoming a hero, and like, what does it mean to be a hero? And obviously you need to slay dragons, you need to do all this stuff, and there's a town that's been turned into like a magical version of itself. And they've just had their like 500th giant walkthrough, right? So they're like used to it, and he's like, oh, I need to fix this. And so my daughter's about to like have this building fall on her,
Oh,
and he
geez.
swoops her up, and then I like call for her, and then we have like this whole conversation where we're like thanking him, and thank you so much for saving our daughter. Like, without you, our family would be safe, all this stuff. So like, and then we remind him that like he is a hero, and he's like, no, I don't know about that. And because of his like family situation that's going on, we're kind of there to be reminders for him that he should probably go back to his family and like take care of them, and like that's how he can be a hero. It's a very
Important
like
lesson.
cute
Yeah.
moral. Yeah, exactly. It's a very lovely moral. And I had a blast. I mean, he was great to
What
work
was he
with,
like? Is he
really.
is he McDreamy actually like people make it out to be?
He's so McDreamy. So I Ed, the guy who played my husband, like at the end of the day, I like let it slip that I kind of like pretty much was a fan of Patrick.
Uh-huh.
And
I
he was
mean, I'm
like,
sure it happened many times though for him.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I play it cool. So like
Yeah.
he was like,
Good.
wow, you played it real cool. I would never have known. And I was like, no, I've been in love with him since I was 13, you know? But no, he is like he was such a gentleman, and he was number one on call sheet that day. So he like just like came in, said hi, like to everybody, like just was super hyper aware of everything going on. And like, you know, I'll just call him my husband and I, like it was our pretty much our first big studio film, right? So we're just there to do the job, and we're like, just don't do
Yeah.
anything by mistake. And he's just like, do you know where you're going from? Like, do you know we're like, no, like we didn't catch that. He's like, guys, like come here, talk to them. And like I had a close up, and he made sure I looked amazing for it. And he was just really like took such good care of
That's
my
awesome.
husband and I. Yeah. So he was just, I was like, I want to be like that when I'm
Yeah, that's a
older.
good message too. You know what I mean? Like you remember
Yeah.
things like that as an actor, especially
Yeah.
coming up and when you're kind of newer or getting to that point, like, oh, I remember when I was treated nicely, you know, or that will stick
Yeah.
with you for sure.
Yeah. And then you take care of like future actors, right? And then you're just
Yeah.
like, you
Like,
learn from that.
pass it on.
Yeah, exactly.
What is Adam Shankman like?
He is so cool. Like he's so goofy and like lovely. We had this like moment. He was showing Patrick how I was gonna hold my like daughter, like I get her from him, like no, I pick her up, and then I was holding her there, and he's like, right, so you're just gonna, he threw his leg like around my body, and I just like grabbed it, and then I dipped him, and he was like, yeah, and then you do dirty dancing, and like we just had a moment. I was like instantly loved him because he made me feel so comfortable, and like we just like joked around. So that was really, really nice. He's a great guy, but like super like also hyper aware and like super focused, knows what he wants. So
Mm-hmm.
he's really great to work with.
So makes them
Yeah.
good. That's what makes them the best, you know,
Yes,
both of them.
exactly.
Did the
Yeah.
daughter have red hair, by the way, the actress who played your daughter?
I would no. She had Matilda.
Uh-huh.
She's got brown hair, long brown hair. She's so honestly, I think she might be 7 now, and her resume is like yay long.
Oh,
Like
geez. Wow. That tells
it's
you.
it's crazy, and she's got this beautiful last name Firth. So
I
you would
like
think,
that.
Colin Firth now. But
Yeah.
she's wonderful. She's so charismatic, and she was like, I love working with kids. I've done it many times, and like
Uh-huh.
it just kind of takes the pressure off of like the situation. You can kind of like put your attention on them, and like just like play with them, make it fun, you know? And she was
Yeah.
really, really lovely.
Well, that's
But
good. That's cool to
brown hair.
hear. Yes,
Yeah,
even with the brown hair, you know, maybe she'll grow into the red.
I know exactly. It'll change eventually.
There you go. Well, this is a big deal for you. I mean, let's go back a little bit. Like, how did you kind
Yeah,
of come up in the industry and just, you know, get to this level? That's a big accomplishment for
I
you.
know.
But
So
what's been your journey sort of like?
I'll try to keep it concise, but yeah,
There you go.
I grew up in Norway, where my family's from, where I'm from.
So you're
And I
Norwegian by ancestry and everything?
Yep. Yep.
Wow,
Fully Norwegian.
very
Yeah.
nice.
I like to say I'm Norwegian American because it's been my adult life in the States.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I basically just like, I was a super shy kid, but I always like had this like, I wanted to be seen. And then I had one teacher who was like, I'm gonna give her the solo in this song. Like every year we had a musical, and he would like make me do solo, make me do something. And I was so terrified, but I loved it. As soon as the lights
Uh-huh.
dimmed, and I was like, oh, it's me in the spotlight, you know.
That's
Um,
great.
and then eventually I like went to performing arts high school. I danced ballet my whole life, and then I got into performing arts high school for ballet, and last minute changed because I was like, I want to be an actor because Moulin Rouge had come out at the time. And I was like, I want to be Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge. I want to do dancing, singing. I want to die on screen. Like, I want to do all of it, and I want to look amazing. Well, I wanted to be me, but like, as
Yeah,
if I was
I
Nicole
mean,
Kidman.
she's
Yeah.
set the roadmap.
Yeah, exactly. And then Grey's Anatomy came on the scene, which is why
Full
such a full circle
circle,
moment for
full
me.
circle for sure.
So like that came on the scene. I was like, oh my God, I'm in love with this guy. And then also Shonda Rhimes. I was like, she is such a good writer. Where did she go to school? Found out she went to USC for her master's. I applied to USC. I got in and I went to
Oh,
acting school at USC. And then later on, and I also needed to go to the States because Norwegians are quite like reserved people. They don't like,
yeah.
we're not good at selling ourselves for like, I'm good at this. Like you'd never hear a Norwegian being like, I'm really good at acting, I'm really good at. So I needed to go to the States to get like confidence knocked into me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I always wanted to go to grad school, went back to Norway, and then applied, got into Harvard and went to acting school there. And then that was part of a Russia program and went to Russia. And then I've just been a nomad the rest of my life.
Jeez, you've done
But
some
that
traveling in your life. Wow.
I
Like,
have,
talk about living different lifetimes,
yeah.
different lives.
Honestly, when I meet some people, they're like, how did you fit it all in? I'm like, I have no idea. I just did. Like,
How tough was it to go from North? How old were you when you came to the States first?
oh my gosh, you're gonna age me now. It was in
Oh, you're
2008.
28. Okay, we all know that. Like, you're mid 20s. So,
Yes, yes. I think I arrived here when I was like 20
uh-huh.
because schooling is like I'd done like a couple of like 1 year courses in Norway and then I did my freshman year and also we have 13 years of school in Norway
Mm.
for like our so we're all like a year behind and then I did a couple years. So I got here when I was 20, I think. Yeah.
That's a
And so
bold.
I just
Where's your family think? Like, I'm gonna go to the US to be an actor. That must have been like the most insane thing you could have told them, probably. Right?
yeah, probably, but like by the time they had me, I was like a super like late baby. Like my siblings were 12, 20 years older than me.
Uh-huh.
So my dad like I was like, listen, I'm gonna go to the States. I primed them from like a very early age. So my dad was like, yeah, of course, you're gonna go, you're gonna be on the red carpet. Of course, like you should go, like obviously. And so
Tomorrow you will.
now
It's all full circle again.
I know. I mean, they're so proud. Like it's I can't even describe it. It feels surreal, honestly, but
Yeah.
I'm just taking it in strides.
What a journey. And you went for
Yeah.
it. A lot of people think about it or talk about it, or don't actually make the move or act upon
Yeah.
it. It's daunting. It's scary,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's you don't know what you're getting yourself into, but making that move and taking that plunge, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I once had a friend, I went to high school with a friend of mine, and I was like, listen, I'm going to go to Yale drama school. Like one day, obviously I went to Harvard, but same
Close
sense.
enough. Yeah, we pick it
Close
up.
enough. And I remember he was like, isn't that a little naive? And I'm like, I don't like when somebody underestimates me, that like really fuels my fire. So
Mhm.
I think that really like, well, now I'm definitely gonna go do this thing.
Uh-huh.
And just like it, I always felt I loved Norway, but like I felt like I don't know, I felt like my people were over here. Like I was like, I need to be
Yeah.
in the States. I grew up like on TV from the States, you know what I mean? Like I grew up with that culture. So I was like, I want to
Mhm.
do that.
It
I want to
spoke
be
to
in
you
that
more
show.
than what was locally. Like, you have your friends and family where you grew up, but like it
Yeah.
wasn't your personality in a sense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like myself when I'm like here and speaking American English and like I just yeah,
Which
it's
is damn
strange.
good, by the way. I don't know, like, what Norwegian, you don't speak that. Your English is like
Uh,
100% Americanized, and
what if
perfect.
I just told you I was Norwegian to like be interesting?
Maybe you did.
It's
I mean, you're
I'm
an
not.
actress.
No.
I'd
We'll
believe
never know.
it. You're actually, what I mean? Like, you could fool me with that for sure.
Never know.
Never know. That's such an interesting thing. How was your experience in Russia too? That's daunting in its own way too.
Yeah, honestly, that was it's so controversial to say maybe, but
Huh.
like that was like one of my favorite times in school. Like
Sure. I mean, you
um
went there for school, right? So it's an
yeah,
experience that you had to.
and I think like people in the arts are obviously very different to like government people.
Right.
They're just more open-minded. They know what's going on. They're very opposed to what's happening, and it's just heartbreaking to see my friends like they can't leave the country. They're like,
Yeah.
they can't, they're censored. They can't say certain things. It's crazy. But I was there in 2014 and it was just a really, really great time. They view art very differently. They're like people off the street basically would just buy tickets to our school shows.
Mm.
Like it wasn't just like because they knew, somebody knew somebody. They
Yeah.
literally would buy tickets to come and see us because we did it in English. We did Dostoevsky and adapted it. And they were just, and then if they loved you as a character, you were that character to them. So like some of it's like, you were like a little bit famous if they like recognized you and they were like, oh my God,
Uh-huh.
that's that person who that's that character walking around. It was really cool because like you felt special. you
Yeah. How
know
often were you performing out there? If you
um it was I think we had a show running for, I don't know, maybe a few weeks
uh-huh.
every other night. Yeah, it was a lot, but we were there for 3 months only. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, not like, yeah, it was a lot for the couple of few weeks that we did it. But
Did you go with like a group or by yourself? Like,
with Harvard, so it was a joint
uh-huh.
program with Moscow Art Theater School, and
Interesting.
yeah, so that was really, really nice as well. And we trained in like the Russian Stanislavski way of acting, and
Uh-huh.
how they do different things, and creating little, they call them etudes. You create little pieces like beginning, middle, end with a twist. Like you have to always improvise and think up things. And just like really teach you how to be creative and like create things out of nothing, right? So
That's a good experience. You know what I mean? To tackle
yeah,
later on in your career, like you have that under your belt.
yeah, and just like how to think outside the box and kind of be like, well, what's the situation here? How can I change, like what, always thinking, I guess.
Mhm.
Maybe, yeah.
What an experience. I didn't even know Harvard had these sort of programs. That's good to like give that sort of
They did.
different world. They did then. I'm sure it's not happening right
Yeah.
now. But
No, I think a couple of years after I went, like,
uh,
um, yeah, they just kind of like broke up with the program over there because of
yeah,
political, if it was a bit
sure.
unstable. And obviously now, like, oh my
Well,
gosh, can you
yeah,
imagine?
no. But even just having these international programs in general, that's a really unique experience. You know what I mean? To go
Yeah,
to a totally different, and it's not only country but world. And that
yeah,
essence to learn that way, and what an experience and what a different exposure. As a student, especially.
100%. Yeah. And I think it's so important just to see how, like, at least in the arts, just to see like how people function in different countries.
Yeah.
The fact that the country itself views art so differently than like maybe we do, even in Norway or here, like where it's like sometimes it's very commercially based because
Hmm.
you have to generate money and all this stuff, and like over there it's subsidized, so like actors have a lot more security, and they work in rep companies, they're hired. In Norway they're still hired in an ensemble, so like they have salaries and they can have a pension and all this stuff, which like
That
doesn't happen
changes
here.
that changes the life of a theater actor in a sense too. Having that
Yeah,
sort of thing, it's a whole different way and perspective in that way too. You could actually do
yeah,
it sustainably. Wow, that's really
100%.
interesting to know that, because that could, change a lot here too for a theater. Because with like, with
Yeah,
film, I know we're so much into film and television and all that, but like New York's got great theater. Here in Chicago,
yeah,
where I'm at, has got great theater, and
yeah,
you would
absolutely.
keep a lot of these actors too around, or employ them or whatnot if you had these sort of benefits to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Mm.
think like the promise of like you have to do 3 shows a year.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that sounds like great, right? But like, I think I do know some people who are in that system and they're like, man, it would be so nice to just take off and do a film, but they can't do that. So I think grass is always greener, right? But I
Yeah.
think
At
just
least you have
in
a choice
general
then,
terms,
right? You at least
yeah,
have somewhat of a
exactly.
choice. You want to stick with theater for a while and commit to it. Hey, you're able to.
Exactly. And I think, yeah, it's a nice system for the
Uh-huh.
most part. And just knowing that art is valued and subsidized a little
Exactly,
bit.
which is important to
Yeah.
maintain it too, especially after COVID, where theater shut down and all that happened. It's an
Yeah.
important part of society and culture and just arts in general. It's such a huge part of arts, that needs
Yeah.
to go on, because it's
Yeah.
the essence of acting. Really, it starts with theater. So
Yeah. Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
cool. So do you stay mostly in LA? Where's your home base? Suddenly, it could
My
be anywhere
home
on the
base
planet.
now. I know. Where do you live? My home base is London, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. How did you
Mm,
end up there?
So after grad school, I moved back to LA from Boston, and my one of my best friends, she had an agent in London, and she hooked me up with that agent, and I was like, right, I'll just, because I am European,
Sure.
I can work there. So I was like, let's see what this is all about. And I kept getting really big auditions. And I remember I got an audition for Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency with Elijah Wood. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember I got an audition for that. And then the casting directors in London were like, actually, no, she has to go through the US office. And
Oh,
at the time, like, I was nobody. I mean, like, I'm not famous or anything, but like, I literally was like, oh no, they would have seen me in London. And then I can't be seen because I'm here. And that kept happening. So I was like, I got
mhm.
to go back to Europe, build up my resume and like, work my way up and whatever. And I went back to Norway for a little bit and then Russia and all this stuff. And then a year, 2017 later, I booked a series regular for a TV show on Netflix called Seven and Me, which is like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's a modern take on it.
Jeez, everything's
And
full circle in your life,
I
literally. You know what
know.
I mean? Like,
Honestly, I had a teacher once who was like, no, you really should work in like fairy tale sci-fi stuff. And I
literally.
was like, why? And he's like, your face is so animated. I was like, oh, it makes sense.
I agree
I
with
also
that,
love it. I'll take it as a compliment.
of
But
course.
yeah, I just that's how it ended up happening. And then I that was like my first big job. And I was like 25 episodes. Jeez. Like, but it was a really good learning experience. We worked with like a lot of, sticks and green screens because all the drawers were not there. They were animated and we were all live action. So
Uh,
that was really cool to just get to work like that. And like you have to keep like seven names and positions and like who's moving where because like your eye line is what moves them around, right? So yeah,
that's a learning
fascinating.
experience. So you like acting. I mean, it looks like London's the spot for you. So it seems like there's a good acting industry. I mean, obviously a lot of stuff gets filmed there too, but seems like
Yeah.
auditions and everything's pretty consistent and regular out there, right?
Yeah, for the most part, a lot of big projects come through there, and like sometimes, the American stuff that shoots in like Bulgarian stuff is
Mm-hmm.
cast like the big roles. Obviously, they'll have that cast in the US, but a lot of the like smaller roles sometimes, or like the supporting roles, are
Yeah.
cast through London, and so it's a great hub that like connects Europe, the US, England. Like it's there, and for me, it's really great because obviously I'm European, so I can work all over
Yeah.
Europe, and it's like it's a smaller pond in many ways, if that makes
Uh-huh.
sense. And I
But
enjoy
good
it. And
enough than any of the other places in Europe, probably. Like the hub of Europe, probably for acting
y-
too.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, pretty much. And
Yeah.
like I've had some fantastic auditions. I just auditioned for this Hulu show that would be amazing to get. But like, I don't know if I would be called in over here. So it's
You
fantastic
fly
to be
back
over
to
there.
LA for an audition, but now it's everything's so
I know
virtual. Like I heard so many
exactly.
actors doing virtual and directors telling me they do virtual interviews, and so it's like a lot more easier than it was a few years back. Because they kind of
Yeah.
understand like the way
Yeah.
things going on these days. So there's
Yeah,
a lot
it's
more.
really, I've been working like that for a while because I've
Mhm.
been so like, nomadic. But I
Yeah.
think casting directors in London, they're so used to doing in person that they're like, oh, we have to do it online. Like, and I'm
Mhm.
like, well, welcome to my world. Like, it's
Yeah.
sometimes better. You get to
Uh-huh.
see more people, but
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
and
there's
then
there's benefits and downside to it too. You can't see that in-person interaction, but also you can see more and accomplish kind of more in a quicker amount of time.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
it's kind of the yin and yang, the ebbs
yeah,
and flows of
exactly.
it. But well, that's so cool. How do you like living in London? I mean, I'm sure you've adjusted by now and everything.
Yeah. Most of my best friends live here in LA, so it's tough, but
You do have a friend that
I
lets you stay, so that's definitely legitimate.
I know, I know. And then like my grad school best friends all moved here, so it's hard, but I have some good friends in London, and I've been there with the pandemic. I've been there for 3 years now, so
Mhm.
I've built up a little bit of network. I have like great friends, and I love living. I live like North London, so it's really nice. And being European, it's nice to be in Europe.
Yeah, not far
But
from
yeah,
home too, right? I mean, what, a few hours
exactly.
maybe, a flight or
Two and a
whatnot?
half hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
nothing.
nothing. No, so it makes it easy to go home for Christmas and stuff like that.
Exactly. Do you have any holiday plans? I mean,
Yeah.
what a rush it's gonna be for you, you know? Like you have the premiere tomorrow. Are you heading back to Europe soon or?
No, I'm actually like gonna go to Vegas and New York. I'm gonna spend Thanksgiving in New York with a friend of mine, so that'll be fun. I mean, like there's no better place to spend Thanksgiving, and that's
Really
my
is.
favorite meal. So
Yeah, New York's the
so
place, the
I'm really
parade's
excited.
there and everything, you know? So it's a
I
great
love it
spot.
so much.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
So
And
I'm
then
gonna
holidays in Europe?
yeah, and then yeah, gonna go back to Norway, spend Christmas with my mom and my siblings. So that'll be really, really nice.
That'll be cool, you
Yeah.
know, and it's like, and you know,
Yeah.
the industry shuts down anyway, anywhere around the world for that time too. So it's like you're waiting for
Yeah.
like January to start, you know, in LA, the award season of
Exactly.
that, but you know, so wow,
Exactly.
you must have accumulated so many flyer miles by now. I could only imagine. Like,
Honestly, like I was planning on coming here for like a visit in April since it's been like years because of the pandemic. And then
uh,
all of a sudden I'm like flying back and forth so many times, but it's great. I mean, I get to see my friends. I haven't seen them since 2019, you know. It's
yeah, I
nuts.
know.
So, yeah. And I will say like I went to New York in May and it's changed so much. Like just the vibe of the city.
Really? In
So
what
it's
way?
interesting.
Good or bad? I haven't been there in a couple years either.
Maybe I don't know, neutral. Like it's just like mm, I don't know how to put this nicely, but like, you know, things the dodgy areas have shifted and places
I
that were
see what
nice
you.
before like quite dodgy now, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, ooh, what happened? And like, you know, some of my favorite places have closed down over the
Well, that's true too. A
pandemic,
lot of
and
places closed down. Yeah,
yeah,
and never
so
reopen.
yeah, and I remember there was a diner, Nate Now's, that I love in Beverly Hills that like closed down here, but I think it reopened thankfully. But it's just like little staples where I'm like, oh, it's changing so much, you
I
know?
know. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
definitely things have changed afterwards, you know. So unfortunately
yeah,
for a lot of things, you know, like businesses have not come back or whatnot, but makes you
yeah,
know, appreciate it more, right? When you get a chance to
yeah,
experience it. Well,
exactly.
you must
Yeah.
love traveling. I'm guessing you're free. I mean, is that part of kind of like your hobbies is traveling in that case?
Um, yeah, I would say so, maybe. I mean, I don't think of it as a hobby. I think of it like, oh, I got to go there.
Yeah, well, you do
I've
it for
never
work, but
traveled to like
like,
vacation.
uh-huh.
Yeah, like I'm never like, oh, like I'm gonna go on a vacation to like the Caribbean or whatever. I
Yeah.
just like travel for work, so it
Uh-huh.
feels like that. But maybe I yeah, it's nice to be back here, and I love LA, but it's nice to visit and not necessarily live.
I know
um
someone who's lived there
yeah,
before and is from Chicago. I can totally understand. Like,
you know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I totally under. I'm surprised you have friends that let you stay. I was in LA for 2 years. I couldn't even have someone to like help me, you
Ah,
know, fill up a tire that was flat, you know, much less that I thought were my friends too, you
oh
know.
my
So
God.
yeah,
Well, you need some good friends here.
totally. It's tough. It's tough to make good friends in LA. Like if you find them, they're
Yeah.
there, but you got to find your people, you know, and it takes
Did
time.
you go to school here, or like
I
were you
didn't.
here for
No,
work?
I just kind of moved on the fly, you know, with not
Oh
knowing anyone.
yeah.
Um,
See, that's where I got lucky. Like I went
yeah,
to school here and then I
made
worked,
relationship.
you know. Yeah, and I think that's the best way of doing it. I even have one of my best friends is like an LA native, which they're hard to find and hard to
Shocking.
like befriend. I
Yes,
know, but I have one. So yeah, they're all lovely and let me stay, you know.
that's
So it's great.
awesome. Yeah, no, you got some real friends then, you know, and then
I
people you made
do.
genuine connections. And it seems like you have them all over New York, Europe. I mean, you're like
I,
most worldwide here and making friendships and connections. You're
yeah.
very likable, Ingrid.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've been fortunate enough that like my friends have kind of like spread out, but then also I like to just connect with people and chat with them, and and build some relationships. And then it's nice to like visit when you're in a different city and see who's
Totally.
there. And then my friends tend to be like, oh, my friend, I have a friend who lives where you're going. You should meet them. And then I befriend that friend, you know. So it's just it's nice.
This
Yeah.
is the industry we're in. It's about connections, communication,
Yeah.
people, meeting different people. It's a big part of it, and
Exactly.
and clearly have a good reputation because people are welcoming you. So it's not like, oh, watch out for her, sort of.
I tried to be nice and clean and not, make too much of a mess.
I think you're doing a good job of that. So wow,
Thank you.
I'm glad we connected. You're so
Yeah, me
lively
too.
and engaging and fun to talk to. I can see why you're
Oh,
very likable.
likewise. Thank you. No, it's so nice to talk to likable people, and like you seem lovely. So thank you
Yeah,
so
no,
much.
I talked to a lot of people in this industry, and it's cool when sometimes you make a cool connection and
Yeah.
someone, and I just like talking about people's stories, and you have a
Yeah.
fantastic backstory in life. You've done a lot, and look, it's paying off. I mean, slowly and surely, it's a great kind of
Yeah,
advice to
like a
actors.
train. I'm getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great outlook for actors. I've done acting too in LA. If there's, too mostly the journalism part. That's like my main
Yeah,
thing. But it's a
that's
good
cool.
like lesson for others who feel down or like or want to quit because you know how it is. You're auditioning, you're getting nothing.
Yeah.
This industry how it can be defeating, and mentally,
Yeah.
but you see your fruits of labor paying off now. You know what I mean? Slowly,
Yeah.
but it's happening, which is really the best part of the journey, I feel like.
Yeah. And also I think like in grad school we were all kind of competing with each other, and like you're
Mhm.
competing with your friends to get shows. Like that was our entire second year. And I just had to be like, you know what? Whatever's meant to be. If it's not for I so woo woo, but like if it's not for me, it's not for me. And like
Yeah,
it's kind of how you have to approach this industry, because like it's never really down to if you're talented, okay, fine, that's why you get called in. But like it's not down to you. It could be the fact that I've red hair and they needed a blonde, or like
totally.
it could
It's
be just somebody owed somebody a favor, so like you were 100% the choice, but they're gonna go with this person because the producer owed somebody a favor, right? So like
and you are out of your control completely. All these things. So
all you can do is show up and be great, and that's it.
totally.
And then you've done the work. And then, I always think I'm gonna hit my stride at 45 or something. Like I feel like and those are the roles and the people. Like those are the women I look up to, and those are also like the roles that I want to play. You
Mhm.
know?
Oh, you still have a long way going. I mean, you look youthful as hell. So I don't know. We're talking about decades away here for that. But the
Yeah,
best thing about an actor, sometimes
exactly.
you look youthful and you do it,
Yeah,
your eyes and everything, and it's great because you can play a lot of different parts, and you can do
yeah,
it all, sort of thing. The look matters when it comes to acting, because people, it's perceiving you, how they perceive you, what age. I'm in
exactly.
my mid-30s, people think I'm in my late 20s or whatnot, so
Yeah, no, you look very young as well.
yeah, I get that
So
all the time, but it
yeah.
helps. It's better to look young than old, I'd say that.
Exactly. And then they're like, "Oh, you're so wise for your age." And you're like, yeah. Yeah, I am." You don't
I
know.
learned a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, hey, you want to share any social media or anything where people can follow you, check out
Yeah.
your work? Please do.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Ingrid Werner. That's Werner, not Warner, but
Mhm.
Werner. I'm also on TikTok, but like I don't do much there. Like I
Okay.
had a spout, but it's Wingy27. So Wing EY 27. And then I'm not on Twitter because oh man, that is a vicious place to
I think a
be.
lot of people
So
are not going to be on it soon, so
yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram, to be honest. Like that's where I live. So yeah,
there you go.
definitely follow me there. Yeah. And then Disenchanted comes out November 18th on
That's
Disney
right.
Plus.
Everyone's going to be watching it in theaters and Disney Plus, right? It's going to be in both, I think.
I think so. I mean, I just know it comes out on Disney Plus
Yeah,
November
Disney Plus for sure.
18th.
Maybe limited theaters from what I possibly heard, but definitely Disney Plus is
Yes.
having it. So, which is
Yeah.
like this Friday, I think, right? So,
This Friday. Yeah. Just
wow,
in time for
every come
Thanksgiving. I
everything's coming so quickly, right?
I know. I mean, Adam, he produced Hocus Pocus 2, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, this guy is just like on one. Like he's just like got this one, this one, this one. It's a good year for him, honestly.
totally. And for you too. This
Yeah.
was a pleasure to talk to you. I hope we can reconnect. And
Same.
uh,
Me too.
I'm excited for your premiere tomorrow. It's going to be a great
Thank
time. So
you.
take it all in.
Thank you. I will. Thank you so much.
You got it, Ingrid. Talk soon, and good luck
Talk
with
soon.
everything in the meantime. I'll stay
Thank
in
you.
touch.
Thanks.
Bye bye.